This video is brought to you by Brilliant. Germany has started 2024 in chaos. Growth is stagnating, the ruling coalition is tearing itself apart, and trust in the government is at an all-time low. Support for Germany's right-wing parties has steadily risen over the last few months, and the AfD, a right-wing populist party previously on the fringes of German politics, are now polling at 20%, above all the parties in the incumbent coalition. But while a lot of the media's attention has understandably been focused on the rise of the AfD, this probably understates quite how far rightwards German politics has moved. The most popular party in Germany is currently Merkel's old party, the Christian Democrats, who've moved significantly further right under their new leader, Friedrich Merz. The Left Party, which used to poll at about 10%, has collapsed and given way to a new, more right-wing outfit led by former Left Party MP Sarah Wagenknecht, and even the governing coalition, which is halfway through its ruling term, is now taking a more right-wing stance on certain issues, including immigration and spending. So in this video, we're going to take a look at how Germany's politics is changing, the crisis facing the governing coalition, and try to figure out why Germany is moving right across the board. Before we start, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing and ringing the bell to stay in the loop and be notified when we release new videos. So let's start by looking at how Germany is moving right. Obviously, over the past few months, support has risen for Alternative für Deutschland, or AfD, who are often described as far right. The AfD are now a strong second in the polls, and are currently leading in the eastern states of Brandenburg, Saxony and Thuringia, which all have elections coming up in 2024. In December, an AfD-backed candidate also won a mayoral election for the first time in the East German town of Pirna, near Dresden. But this isn't the only respect in which Germany is moving right. The only party ahead of the AfD are Angela Merkel's old party, the centre-right CDU, but they've actually moved further right under their new leader Friedrich Merz. Merz has flirted with cooperating with the AfD, which is something Merkel was always opposed to, and has taken a far harsher stance on immigration than Merkel as well, calling for irregular refugees to be deported to third countries. Merz has also been conspicuously sceptical of environmental policies, opposing the controversial heat pump law and describing the Greens as the main enemy in Chancellor Olaf Scholz's three-party government, despite the CDU being allied with them in 6 of Germany's 16 states. Nonetheless, Merz's reformed CDU seems to be going down well in Germany. They performed well in the recent October state elections, claiming a victory in Hesse, and retaining their hold in Bavaria via their sister party, the CSU. The governing coalition themselves have also moved right in certain respects. Chancellor Olaf Scholz's three-way traffic light coalition between his centre-left Social Democratic Party, the centre-right Free Democratic Party, and the Greens came into office in 2021 with promises to stimulate the economy and fund the green energy transition. But through the second half of 2023, cracks in the alliance began to show, and the three ruling parties have squabbled over a range of issues. In December, only 16% of Germans said they were satisfied with the current government, and Scholz's approval ratings have continued to plummet every month, to a record low since 1997. In an effort to bolster his approval ratings, Scholz has moved right on immigration recently, bringing in new measures to speed up deportations, cut benefits for asylum seekers, and introduce temporary checks on the Polish, Czech, and Swiss borders. At the same time, the FDP have reacted to their falling approval ratings by playing up to their base and resisting any big spending packages, which hasn't gone down well with the Greens, who want more borrowing to fund the energy transition and don't want to cut welfare. The final rightward shift in Germany worth mentioning is with the Left Party, who've seen their poll ratings collapse recently. The Left Party has always been divided between those who think the party should focus on social justice and what we might describe as identity politics, and a more old-school socialist contingent who think identity politics are essentially a distraction, and that the party should focus on German workers. At the moment, the left's leadership is mostly from the first group, but as the poll ratings have collapsed, the second group, led by a well-known German politician known as Sarah Wagenknecht, have revolted. Wagenknecht has now gone off to form her own party, which will be economically left-wing but more right-wing on cultural issues, and provisional polling suggests it'll be significantly more popular than the Left Party. So you get the idea. Germany is moving right across the board. So what explains Germany's rightward shift? Well, as we see it, there are broadly two reasons. The first is Germany's economic woes. As we've detailed in previous videos, the German economy is having a tough time at the moment. The German economy probably shrank in 2023, and most analysts expect basically zero growth in 2024. Germany is really struggling with the rise of protectionism across the world, because Germany relies more than most countries on exports, and German industry is also struggling to adjust to the end of Germany's energy relationship with Russia. Unsurprisingly, economic crises and hardship fuel anti-establishment sentiment, which would explain why AfD voters are generally some of the poorest in Germany, and why they have the most pessimistic outlook on the German economy. But the second reason is what we might call the death of Merkelism. Essentially, during the 2010s, there was a sort of centrist consensus in German politics, dictated by Chancellor Angela Merkel. At the time, Merkelism was immensely popular. Merkel won 4 successive elections, and Germany's economic prosperity and political stability made it the envy of Europe. However, in retrospect, some of Merkel's policies look misjudged. Nord Stream 2 made Germany reliant on Russian gas. Her decision to close down Germany's nuclear power plants has contributed to Germany's energy woes and extraordinarily high CO2 emissions. And her public spending cuts don't look as prudent as they once did. Public investment as a percentage of GDP was lower than the European average under Merkel, which is why German infrastructure is in such a mess. 1 in 8 of its 40,000 major bridges are no longer in adequate condition, and last year 1 in every 3 German trains arrived late. Merkel's defence cuts also look naive, especially in the aftermath of Putin's invasion of Ukraine, and are now being reversed by Scholz. Finally, Merkel's generous refugee policy hasn't aged well. While it was supported by most Germans at the time, public sentiment has since turned, much to the AfD's benefit. Polling from a few months ago suggests that 64% of German voters don't think that immigration benefits Germany, including a plurality of voters from all parties except the Greens, and basically every mainstream party is now calling for tighter restrictions. So those are, as we see it, the two reasons that Germany is moving right. The ongoing economic crisis, but then also the collapse of Merkel's centrist consensus, which has destabilised German politics. As we step into 2024, many of us are contemplating our New Year's resolutions, always looking to improve ourselves and learn more about the world around us. And while our content is always a good starting point, a lot of stuff we talk about can seem pretty complicated, especially when we dive into analytics and detailed data. But luckily there's a fun and easy way to learn more, which also doesn't cost thousands of dollars or take years and years of schooling. That's because Brilliant is the best way to learn maths, data science and computer science interactively. And the good thing is, it doesn't take long to learn either. These complex topics are broken down into small but accessible chunks, designed around your busy schedule. Even just a few minutes a day can help you with accumulating new knowledge over time in a fun and engaging way. As time goes on, you'll also get used to that empowering feeling of learning too, because Brilliant isn't just about memorization and lectures. Brilliant teaches you by doing, using active learning techniques to teach you the principles behind otherwise quite complex subjects, and ensuring you actually understand what's going on. So whether you want to brush up on your basic math skills, improve your employment prospects, or just have another New Year's resolution for 2024, you can check out everything Brilliant has to offer free for a full 30 days by going to brilliant.org/TLDR. Plus, the first 200 of you will get 20% off Brilliant's annual premium subscription. Thanks for your support.